Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to Clover Street. Gabe is setting up a banner, so it might be loud. Hi, Serenity. Hi, Bodhi. Bodhi, thank you for the host. And the bits. Thank you. Hello, Lillian. Welcome. How are you guys? Eliza, hi. What are you guys doing? How's your Thursday? Thursday. How's your Thursday? You good?
Yeah, I was just
Fire Seal, are you Borgo? Is that who you are in the Discord now?
Hello,
Or is that someone else? Because I thought it was you, and Gabe's like, no. I don't know anymore. I don't even internet anymore. Are you the Borgo? You are the Borgo.
Is he?
Yes. I knew it. See? I told you, because a Borgo would be a doggo, and that's a seal. So the fact you were like, hey, come to this stream, it's like, dude, he's always there. I was like, that's Fire Seal. Oh, Lillian, that's okay. Maybe we'll distract you from your food needs. You don't know. Maybe. You start dying on stream, though, that's kind of my fault.
I'm actually kind of surprised that, like, you didn't just ask us directly.
Yeah, that is kind of funny. Fire Seal, why didn't you just ask us? Hylan doesn't know.
Arlen's in college. She doesn't know anything.
We don't know yet. Hello, Mike. Mr. Onions. See, if you do want me to call you the mightiest onion, or just onions, or onion, I can call you that. Fire Seal's making it difficult for everybody. God. Consistency.
What's this?
What? Oh God, hold on. I gotta do things. Sniggle's here! Sniggle, wiggle, wiggle.
Sniggles.
Sniggles. Hold on, I gotta do something for Greg. And I gotta switch the song so it doesn't get all weird that it's repeating.
Ow!
Good. Yeah, that's actually perfect. Bueno.
Really?
Yeah. I don't know how you did that. You are a little bit to the left, but the thing's fine.
Oh. Yeah, okay.
You cool with that?
Mm-hmm.
Thursday. How's everybody's Thursday? How are the cool kids? I wouldn't know. I'm not one of them. Ah! Oh, that's okay, Mike. Don't worry about it. I just ask in case you want to be the onion. I don't know. It's up to you. I'm okay with Clover, Clo, Ver, I guess. Ashley, whatever people want to say. However, it seems like people just remember Clover better, so I'm like, whatever, I don't care. I do not care. Alright, so it was between this commission today. I was doing commissions all last night, and I started this one, and I was like, well, it's been a while since I did a pet and armor on here, but you know what? I'm going to actually save this one till the color phase, so we'll see. We'll see if I even do that one on the stream. I'm starting to get behind, so I might have to pump some out off stream, but I also wanted to use the stream as fun time, because the rest of the night I'll be doing commissions again, so maybe now is my break, so then you guys get to see some of my fun stuff, things I consider fun, so we'll do that. Oh, Liza, that's fair. Oh, thank you, Mike. Yes, she's a good one. And I've got a weird one. Sometimes I get a commission that kind of borders on furry territory, and I didn't realize it when I took it on, and then they gave me the references, and I'm like, oh, okay. But it's really weird. It's probably the weirdest commission I've ever done, and I don't want to show it. So I'm not. The pencils are basically done, but it's just weird. I don't know. Anyway, you gotta get the money, you know? Oh, you got thunder? Not fair. It's been so long since it's actually rained here. I'm so upset. Alright, so we're doing Thistle Castle, which I didn't plan it to be called Thistle Castle, and it worked out that way, and I'm so happy. Now you want to see it? Ah. Okay. It's really weird. So, I mean, I'm not used to drawing whatever this is. I have no idea. I look at the source material. I mean, I guess, you know, they're being really creative. I don't know. There's a lot of detail in weird areas that I'm going to omit some because, you know me in detail. I don't think extra detail and stuff is necessary if it's not necessary. But I kept the markings, but the wing's gonna look wrong, but that's how they drew it. So, I don't know. It's very strange. They're like cosmic entities or something, but when I saw this guy, I was like, shit, that is like furry central. And I was like, oh well. At least out of all the other commissions he's gotten done, this will hopefully be one of his better ones, so that's been saving grace. But for a 2-character color commission, $200, it's like, money, right? Hey. But I'm gonna swear off furry commissions if this one ends up being another poor experience. That would be 3. And it's like, I will, you know, if I've only done 3 and all 3 have been a terrible experience with the person, I'm over it. I'm over it! Anyway. Yeah, it has a bit of that feel, doesn't it? It was like, Oh, a typhoon, Eliza? Jeez.
Oh.
That's worth staying in for. And I don't like blanketing things, like saying furry people are weird, but I haven't had any good encounters really yet. But I'm not going to say all of them are messed up, because I haven't met all of them. Well, okay, one of them that I know is a nice guy. He's a good guy. He works at a Starbucks. He's a good guy. He's actually in our Discord, and he's great. He's a really good artist. He's, you know, a put-together individual. But sometimes it's different. But anyway, I have a platform of sorts, so I have to be more careful with the things I say. Which, with great power comes great responsibility, that whole thing. Exactly, Sniggle. It's like, I'm going to say 1 out of 5. You know, seems to be like, yeah, alright, normal, you know? But there is no normal either, so I don't know. Like I said, I don't like to blanket stuff because there's always exceptions, and, you know, blanketing groups and doing labels and stuff is usually a bad idea. But I know what kind of interactions I've had, and I don't know. I made sure, though, ahead of time, since I knew kind of what I was getting into after I saw the source content, you are more than allowed to ask and say, okay, so this is going to be done in my style. I'm going to, you know, take what you've got here, but I'm going to omit and add some things. Is that okay with you? And then before they even purchase anything, do anything, you establish those rules so that if at any point they come back, which I've had this happen too many times, and they're like, well, this is off, and you did this wrong, and blah, 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 because they're very particular and very protective of their designs. So I make sure up front, you're getting something that's a little bit me, not all you. And as long as they okay that, then I can always come back at them later. Gotta make sure of that. Yeah, so it's like, we've all got one friend that's a pretty level-headed furry person. Alright. Yeah, setting up rules is good. Usually I don't have many. The main one for me now is, across the board, if I give an estimate on time, I'm usually really good about sticking to that. I'm typically never late when I say when it'll be done. So if I say like a month or 4 to 6 months for the pet and armors, it's usually that, right? But, you know, other than that, it's just, I usually say up front, if somebody comes up to me at a con, do you do commissions? I say, yes, I do, but I do not do fan art, and I do not do any pornography. And then groundwork is laid, it's just factual, there's no emotion to it, and they're like, okay, cool. because I want you to do my OC. And then it's like, all right, cool. I'm fine with that. That's always a breath of fresh air. But, oh wow, fire sale freebie. A freebie of what? Like a free commission? Or, what do you mean? I don't know if I'd give away a free commission. That's like 2 to 4 hours of free work. I don't know about that. In my case. Okay. Also, fire seal, I was serious about commissioning you. Oh, a fan art related. I see. Yeah, and that's up to people to kind of set what they want to do. Oh, good for you, Serenity. Now, that's where it gets a little bit iffy, even for me with the fan art thing. Like, I won't do it, but when other people do it, there's a little bit of a saving grace with it where you're getting someone coming to you saying, I like your style, I'd like to see this character in that style. Because it's still you, but I'm not okay with it. But a lot of people will argue that with me, and it's like, well, you do you. At that point, I'm like, whatever you feel is right or wrong, I can't sway you one way or the other, but for me, I'll just never do it for money. If I do fan art, it's out of love. It's because I want to, it's because I love the property, and I give it away for free. That sort of thing, so. A free furry. Yeah, Serenity, and actually those are more the fun ones, really, when they just give you kind of a verbal or written description and you don't get any actual pictures, because then you get to interpret it all your own. And usually the people that do that kind of already know that it's going to be varied depending on how many people they get to do it or who is doing it. So they're usually pretty easygoing and open to whatever you end up doing, so it's pretty cool. I don't mind those at all. And sometimes you get just people who are like, I want to commission you for something. And you're like, cool, what do you want? Gabe gets this actually a lot. They'll come up to him and be like, I just want you to do whatever. Mm-hmm. You know? But what's weird is, why wouldn't they buy an original then in that case?
I don't know. I think it's just...
Because they'll want to commission you, but they won't have any specifics. They're just like, just go. Just do you. It's like, maybe they want to feel like in charge of it or something.
I think it's because it's made for them and not just made...
That's true. But that's usually only if you know them, right? That you could sway it towards them. Because usually what we'll do is we'll ask, well, what kind of stuff are you into?
Yeah.
Like if somebody does come up to me and want a commission or something, I'll be like, okay, what do you want? They're like, oh, whatever. I'm like, okay. Because this usually actually happens to me with sketchbook commissions. People will give me their sketchbook. This happened last weekend, actually. People will want something drawn in a sketchbook, which they've gotten tons of other artists to draw something in the sketchbook. They'll give you like $30 and they'll say, just sketch something, you know, whatever. And, you know, at that point I'm like, well, what are you into? What do you like? And, you know, if they're like, oh, animals are cool, yeah, I'm down with that, and fantasy, I'm like, okay, what's your favorite animal? And then they tell me, and that's like, all right, I have enough to go on then, you know. So, you know, prying them a little bit. In person, it's easier. When you're online, it's a little bit more teeth pulley, because not everybody checks their mail, but... Yeah, Eliza, I think you're right. They want something fresh and new. No, Fire Seal. I was gonna actually ask, via Instagram, like, you know, what size can I get? What, you know, or can you do color? What do you want? You know, either way, when I get the commission from you, I want it to be, you know, not digital. And if you feel comfortable with doing just pencils, that's okay. But if you want to add color, it's okay. Lately I've been going around to some of my favorite artists, and I've been commissioning them to draw Cloverkin, you know. So I'll have you be doing that, and honestly, the only thing that's different with you that I want is I want you to draw a kukui, because your hamus are on point. And honestly, I got the idea because the other day you drew like an elf girl with like one of your hamu people, and I was like, oh my god, I need Fire Seal to just draw me and my hamster. I hope that's okay, and when we talk about it, figure it out, I'll send you all the, you know, references I have, so you have some, so you know what to do. But yeah, if you want to draw a cuckoo, he's a long hair though. I don't know if you've done a long hair yet, but anyway. For anybody who hasn't seen our hamster, his name is Kukui. He is a long-hair Syrian. He's very adorable. He's got videos on my Instagram and my highlights. And Kukui is Spanish for basically the boogeyman. So he's my little boogeyman. He's adorable. But yeah. So we'll get to that later. Yeah, and sometimes Serenity, you'll have to kind of dig out your own reference, which I'm sure you've done with the commissions I've seen that you've done. It looks like you found some reference at some point for something. But anyway, so it's Thursday. This week has gone by extremely fast. Does anybody have any good and or bad things that have happened to you that you either want to share or you want to vent about? Venting is healthy. I think more people should vent in a healthy way. Do not tweet or go on Instagram and just blah. Okay, it's going to make you look bad. Remember to do something one-on-one with somebody so they're prepared for it. Hey, can I vent to you about something? Yeah. That's usually the best way to vent. You don't want to just throw it at the internet, because if you end up getting a platform and an audience and stuff like that, you want to conduct yourself a little bit more eloquently. You know, you want to be a positive figurehead. So if you're always bitching on your, social medias about stuff, it's going to look bad, right? You're going to look bad. And you might cause more harm than good. So in that case, it's good to get, started now, get used to having a filter on it sometimes. Because, you shouldn't say everything you're thinking, right? Unless you're with friends. Like right now, I'm prompting you, I'm giving you a platform to just whatever, right? Because some people, I'll unfollow people if all they do is bitch. I don't need that kind of negativity, man. I got my own junk to deal with. Seeing somebody else, being mad. If you're mad and you want something to change, the best way to do that is to actually say, well, I'm upset at this right now because of this reason, this reason, this reason. Almost like a paper, like an essay, like you're writing a commentary on something that's backed up by stuff. Don't just blurb and be like, this fucking sucks, I hate everything they're doing. It just makes it look bad. I don't know. Anyway, Bela Lugosi Dracula license. Shit, yeah. Oh man, Mike, that's awesome. That should be fun, right? Oh man, are you guys already preparing for Halloween right now? I'm super curious. No, Fire Seal, yours have been good though. Yours have been like Gabe's and mine, where they're not so much rants as they are just positive tips. Like the one I did last night, I thought was a good one. It's not, negative. It's not a rant. It's pointing out a good point, I feel. So last night I put, it's okay to rip out your sketchbook pages, do whatever you want, there are no rules, everything is temporary, nothing is perfect, let go. Right? I mean, think about it. Because usually I rip out all my sketchbook pages either to sell them or to, send them off to their homes because they're commissions. And people, look at my sketchbook, they're like, where is everything? I'm like, my sketchbook's technically my Instagram. And that's kind of how you should treat it. Your Instagram is now your sketchbook. You post things to prove it, and that's why your Instagram's a living thing. If you want a portfolio, go get a website, cater it, make sure all your good stuff's there, and make sure it's under 20 pieces, alright? But your Instagram is a living, breathing thing, and it's good for you to put stuff up there. Don't be afraid of things getting stolen. If they do, they do. You can't do anything about it. Honestly, if somebody in China rips off your stuff, you don't have a prayer. You can't get a lawyer, you can't get anything like that if you're a little guy, right? Unless you got, family who has a ton of money. You can't do anything about it. But would you rather be getting in front of people's eyes and have no fear about it and be able to make more ideas? Or would you rather hold everything back, never get seen as an artist or anything like that, never get any community or networking, and just be drawing in a corner? No, that's not what art's about. You know. Oh no, Sniggle, do they want you to trade him back? That would suck. Hey, Uncanny. It's been a while since you've been here. How you doing? quit Facebook because of them. I just mute people now. So Instagram and Facebook have kind of mute options. So I either unfollow people or I mute them on Instagram. So I do too, Fire Seal. I do too. I don't know what to draw. It's like, well, you gotta learn to brainstorm what to draw, you know. Oh, New York, right. That's crazy, Mike. You got to talk to the family? Wow. That's really cool, man. Congrats on that. That's awesome. Hey, Yushin. Yushin, you've been kicking ass on your Journey June, man. Like, for real. Gabe was gushing about your stuff the other day. Your panel work?
Yeah, top notch.
Oh, man. Hey, Chris. I knew it was you. Welcome. How you doing, man? How's post-con? Are you having those little lulls where it's like, I miss everybody and I had so much fun and blah, blah, blah. We get those still, too. You know, no matter how many you do, it's like, oh, you gotta recoup one way or another. Was it, Lillian? Oh, good. Yeah, I hope so. I hope the tips we give are good. A lot of them are about just being fearless with art, because a lot of people aren't. Too many, I'm gonna say amateur artists, regardless of your age, but more about your experience, are afraid to post stuff, or afraid to, you know, not do something that's popular, you know? Wait, not do something that's not popular? To do something that's not popular. There it is. That one. Well, we miss you too, man. You did a great job at that con. You helped Key out so much. You were very personable and sweet. I think you did a great job. Yes. Oh my God. Mike, I worked for Rapala in the NHL for a game a couple years back when I was doing mobile games. Oh my God. They're so particular. Especially with, you know, obviously logos. Anywhere you work and you have to use logos, they're like, well, it can only be on this color background, and it can only be used in this certain instance, and all this stuff. Like, there are all these caveats with their style guides. Licensing work is nuts. Hey, Uber. How you doing? We miss you. It's been a while, dude. Okay, so this is actually a really tough one. This is a thistle. Thistles are tough. Yeah. Licensing is crazy. I don't even... It's nuts. Some thistles, though, have thorns and some don't. That's news. I didn't realize that. Oh my God, there are 9 kinds. Well, that doesn't help. What's number 5? That one's pretty. What am I working on? So Uber, I started a series called Fortified Flora, and every one of them is a building that has kind of a highlight of a certain type of flower and or plant. So I've got these ones here I've done recently, and honestly I'm just gonna probably keep going with these until I get burnt out or I don't have any more ideas with them, because I'm enjoying them a lot. I actually have a lot of fun drawing buildings. I don't know why that is, but oh, it's Scottish thistle. Oh, I didn't realize there was a difference. Scottish thistle. And this is the part of art that takes some research, and that is okay. But I like the ones that are kind of not like that. Oh, thanks, Lillian. I'm glad you were liking them. I'm having fun with them. So like I said, when you get that bout of inspiration and you want to keep going with something, whether it's one illustration or many, ride it. Because the minute I leave this and go away for a little bit, it's going to be twice as hard to come back. It's not going to be as fresh in my mind with the sort of formula I've kind of made for these. And I explained those on Tuesday, I think. Tuesday I went over how to do an illustrative series and what kind of things to keep in mind and how to actually do them and make a formula for yourself to follow. So if anybody's interested in that, actually Tuesday was a really good stream. I was really happy with it. Just like no negativity. It was just all learning and fun. So I was really proud of that one. But yeah, so we're doing that right now. And the thing that kind of sucks is when I'm doing this sort of stuff, I do a lot of research usually on how something looks, especially if I'm going to be inking it. You got to get down that texture pretty good. So, like I said, I'm kind of researching a bit now. Oh no, Eliza, should you be like in a basement or something, or in like a structure that's safe? Yeah, mushrooms. Mushrooms are great. I ended up kind of doing the same thing where I did like a mushroom stint, and then I ended up, oh god, do I have that around? Shit. Give me 2 seconds, I'll show you.
Bye, Mike.
It's still for the same place. Here we go. Here we go. Damn it, that sucks. I think Mike would have liked these. Okay. So, as I was saying, I went through mushroom phase 2, but then I ended up making a story about a mushroom and his like little world and stuff, and here we go. So that's him, and he has this. This is very important to the story, but I'm not going to tell too much because, like I said, I want to still do this one. But I started drawing all these different mushroomers, and there's so many different types of them too. And they all have these contraptions that are hooked to them too. That has to do with the story. Oh, this is a different story. I've shown this one on stream too before. This is my raspberry mouse story. But anyway, but sometimes when you do a study, it turns into more, and you either end up doing like an illustrative series, or maybe a story. So that's how I end up with too many things to do. But Wobbles, thank you for the host. Chris, thank you for the bits. Bodie, thank you for the bits. You guys are awesome. Oh, text boxes for game. So dialogue boxes, Serenity, like the ones that text shows up in, those are usually referred to as dialogue boxes, or 9 points, just so you know, in case you want to look it up and stuff. Bye, Mike! Arc trainer things. You were doodling while on an arc trainer?
Jesus.
How the hell did you manage that? Do you have the height for your knees coming up pretty low, Fire Seal? I usually put them up to 20, so my knees are like, it's basically going through those tires, like that sort of thing. Oh god, that's true. Uber wants to know what you're doing, Gabe.
I'm working on comics.
Comics. You actually said to 15. Hey, that's good. That's more than Gabe does. He doesn't do them very high. That's crazy. Fire Seal, that is talent, man. Like, if you're actually drawing while on an arc trainer, mad skills. Mad skills. I don't necessarily want to do thorns, but they do have thorns. Granted, if I really didn't want to do thorns, I don't have to. I don't have to do anything I don't want to do. This is fantasy. That's the point. Rainfall alert. Maybe that's your equivalent to a flood warning? I don't know. Usually we get a flood warning, but maybe yours is different. It is dangerous, Fire Seal, true, but it's skill, regardless. I also will back your nomination for Fire Seal as the guy for 2018. I feel that. We're gonna actually do... Cause this one thistle is just captivating my fucking heart. I want to do this one so bad, so I think I will. And then for the rest of this, I wanted to do some wood on this, but I don't know, maybe I shouldn't. I've been doing a lot of wood on a lot of other parts. Should I have just one castle that's just not wood? Because this kind of starts breaking my formula.
Yeah, I wouldn't do that.
You don't think so?
No.
Okay. I don't have water coming out of here, maybe. Okay, so throw in wood somewhere. It's gonna be tough. I guess I could do it here. Sniggle, how's work last night? Did anything fun happen? By fun, I mean good stories. Any guys trying to steal a bunch of beer again? Yeah, the guy. You could be the guy. I'll just add some wood accents maybe to keep it consistent. And I'm going to delete something here. Find my eraser. No idea where that went. I'll use this one. 6 shoplifters and none of them got caught.
Jesus.
Holy crap. Do you have a security guard or no? And if so, does he suck? Is that not his job? Like, how do you know if they didn't get caught? Do you sometimes just watch them walk out and just be like, meh? Or do you guys watch the tapes later and realize you had shoplifters? Holy crap, is that text?
Mm-hmm.
Who are you talking to?
Well, who do you think?
Oh, really?
Yeah.
From earlier?
Yeah.
Is it bad?
It's not good.
Really?
Yeah.
Uh-oh. I didn't think that would go badly.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe she got back to me. Oh. Yeesh. Alright. Dude mentions. Oh, yeah, that's crap, Stingle. Why doesn't anybody else want to switch around? Like, that doesn't make sense to me. So there is kind of a thing here. Yeah, but who's winning, Gabe? You or them?
It's emotional.
Really?
I think it's probably all stemming. It's probably all not real.
Well, maybe you should say that, or, postpone the talk.
Mm-hmm.
Is that what you're doing?
No, that she recommended that. That we should talk about it like in person.
Okay. Why is it emotional?
Because she's got other things going on in her life, you know.
Yeah, but that doesn't have anything to do with what's happening right now.
No, but you know how people get when they're having emotional things in their life, and then it.
It's just that's like you shouldn't have tweeted that then.
Yep.
That's the whole thing of knowing better.
Mm-hmm.
Keep your put thy foot down. Pharisee says. Fairseal, do you have a page that says all your commission rates and stuff, or is that kind of on a case by case? which is fine, but really you should make an Etsy page that's got like, you know, stuff on it so people can see what your rates are. Unless, of course, you don't want them all the time. That's okay too. I get that. Guys, never say anything on social media when you're heated. Never do it. Walk away. Wait until like you've cooled down, you've composed yourself, because most of the time you'll say things you regret. So never try to do that, because honestly, internet fights are the worst. No one's ever right. Like, everybody's just wrong because it's the internet. And if you can't ever talk to someone in person, do it. It's a way better thing. I'm on fire. It took me actually a long time to learn that. Because I'm so, what's the word? Not impulsive, but I want to fix things so quickly that, like, every internet fight I've ever gotten into it gets worse just because I want it to get better quickly, and then I just end up, I don't know, we both make it worse because there's miscommunication or something. However, I did have one fight with someone, actually two, where it basically felt like an internet fight in person. And Gabe was there for one of them, and it was ridiculous. It was the weirdest fight I've ever had with somebody in real life. It was obnoxious and absurd, and there was no logic. And I still don't even know what happened. Like, it was a whirlwind of weird. Which led me to believe in the end that she's nuts, and I'm not totally crazy. So that was a really weird one. But I think you're gonna, like I said before, you're gonna make enemies somewhere. Some people you don't want to be your enemies, so, you know, take the time to make those to be, you know, good again. Some people are not worth your time. I've burned many bridges because of that, and burning a bridge isn't necessarily a bad thing. Think of it like when there's forest fires and they're clearing all the old forests, right? You need to do that so other stuff can grow, right? It's purging. It's a, you know, good thing sometimes. Not always negative. Frenemies. I'm not sure I have a frenemy. What is a frenemy? Like, if you, Fire Seal, if you had to break it down, what is a frenemy to you? Oh, well, there you go. See, I don't have those. If I have a friend that wants to battle me, they're not my friend. Like, what is that? That's just somebody you keep around for another reason? That's, like, no, that doesn't make sense at all to me. Unless I'm still misunderstanding. Like, if somebody's a waste of time for me to be around and I just fight with them constantly, like this one person I'm thinking of, just get rid of them. They're a waste of time.
I thought a frenemy was really just a rival.
But I mean, are you really friends with rivals? I'm usually a few steps detached from a rival. Like, where I'm seeing them from far away and seeing what they're doing, and then comparing myself, which I should not be, And I've since gotten over the rivals I had, thank God, because that was more trouble than it was worth. But I don't know. Like, I don't see the point of that. Oh. See, I don't know. To me, that just seems like a waste of time. Like, is it someone that's at your level, or I don't understand really. Friend like, but will fight, but not an intention to hurt. Sensible and come back and talk. I don't think I have those. Yeah, and my rivals, I don't usually like to be friends with rivals. Also, I think with art, once you get to a certain point, you realize no one's really a rival, because remember what I was saying about everybody being on a different art journey? You don't really have a rival, you know? I think that's I don't know, as far as art's concerned, if you're talking about like sports or some crap, I can't relate to that. I don't know. Like, I can't really fit that into this metaphor right now, but or like a life rival. Maybe some of you have one of those people you went to high school with where you're always kind of sizing up your life against theirs. Don't do that. That's gonna hurt you. And I mean, you know, you're just gonna grow bitter towards them and stuff. It's just, you know, they're doing their thing, you're doing your thing. It's apples and oranges still. Can't compare. I still hate the phrase apples and oranges. I think it should be like apples and zucchini, or like apples and potato chips. Something more far removed, because they're still fruit. Apples and oranges. They still have that in common.
No, but that's the point.
Is that the point?
Is that they're common, but they're
the same but
completely
different?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So when you guys think of rivals, all your rivals, are they art rivals, or are they life rivals, or are they sports rivals? What kind of rivals do you have? Zucchinis are berries. That's true. That's fair. I've decided to start asking you guys more deep questions. So I like knowing what you guys think of stuff. Apples and tomatoes. Tomatoes are a fruit though too. Kiwi rivals. Yeah, I would think apples and potatoes are closer. They're both produce, but they're both extremely different. So I might say apples and potatoes. I'm with you on that, Yushin. People are gonna take a minute to be like, what? And I'm gonna have to explain it anyway, so why not? Because apples and oranges to me just feels like, I don't know, different. They're too similar still. Like, it's almost like you both draw fantasy, you both use watercolor. Like, that's how close it is. But maybe your content's different. You draw satyrs and they draw fairies.
Wait, so then would that be like Gala apples and Washington apples?
See, I don't think so, because those are comparable.
Yeah, so
like,
if
we
we
need
both...
something that's not comparable.
Well, you just literally just said, like, everything except for one thing. So,
right,
like...
but they should not be really comparable at
But
all.
they are, because they're both apples. They both taste like apples, but one is this flavor and the other one is this flavor.
So what does apples to apples actually mean? Are you comparing
Well,
apples
that
to
would be
apples?
more. But
What
like
is
if
apples to apples though? Can you look that up real quick? What does apples to apples actually mean? Apples and bananas. Apples and bananas.
yeah, it's just two things that are fundamentally the same. So that would be like the example you gave, where you both do watercolor, and you both do fantasy, but one does fairies and the other one does satyrs.
I see.
That's apples to apples.
So
But if
apples to oranges would be different medium, maybe?
that could be a
Or
thing.
you and I are apples and oranges? Because you're sci-fi and different medium?
In
and
regards to, we're both artists.
So we're
Then
both fruit.
Yeah, we're both fruit.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Can I be the orange? I don't really like apples.
'cause-
I'm an orange, you guys. You're welcome, Lillian. It needed to be said. Oh, what did we see that was Godzilla-y? Oh, Snaggle, do you know there's a new Godzilla anime on Netflix? It's like 3D anime, but it looked kind of neat.
It's like season 2.
I don't know what it is, but we saw it last night. It was a thing. I was like, Snaggle!
And then the new Godzilla thing coming out, the new Godzilla movie coming out next year.
Live action or no?
Oh yeah, live action. It's the one that takes place like a few years after the one that just came out recently.
With Bryan Cranston?
Yeah.
Do you think they're going to talk about that at San Diego?
Oh, I'm sure they'll have another trailer for it. Yeah. Or something.
Oh wait, it was a movie? It wasn't like an anime show? Or... Oh, thanks for the host, Paladin. Host. Hi, Mage. Lurk on. We gotta get Twitch shirts. I really want to get a Twitch shirt.
But when would you wear it?
I don't know. Maybe when we're at a con, but like not during the con. Maybe like going out to eat, so that people just be like, "Whoa, you're on Twitch," and we'll be like, "Yeah," and we point to our shirt, which will have our names on it. Like, yeah, you can find me here. Take a picture of me. It's an idea, yeah. And it'll give me something I can wear that I don't have to think about, which I like. So as I'm doing this study, I've never drawn a thistle before. Actually, I should probably tell you guys that. I've never drawn thistles before. This is my first time drawing thistles. So remember what I've said about turning a study into an actual piece. Because why not, right? You're going to be doing it anyway. You might as well make, a composition, an actual piece that you can either use for something or, whatever. And if it doesn't turn out, oh well, at least you did your study, right? At the very least, you did a study. But if it turns out better, then you've got a full piece, you did a composition, you practice a whole bunch of things. Either medium, lighting, shading, whatever, right? So you're doing a bunch of things at once, which is kind of the benefit of doing study mixed with piece, right? It's going good, Paladin. How you doing? Everything's bad in Hooper. Can thistles whistle? Only when a thistle's in a castle can it whistle. What's a thistle? I'll show you guys the reference I'm using. Maybe that'll help. So I'm going to draw all these thistles based on this one picture of a thistle, because this has all the, what do I want to call them? Components. Yes, that's exactly the word I wanted. Components. This has all the components that I want and how I want them to look. So sometimes finding the one reference that can kind of open your eyes to all the possibilities, and then in your head you dial things. Remember I've talked about dialing, like when it comes to detail and quality, stuff like that. You have to know when to dial stuff. So looking at this, I also know they have thorns, which aren't visible in this picture, so I can just log that in my memory. They have thorns, so on the stems I'll end up adding thorns. But in this picture, I can see that the top part has a few that are longer than the dense bunch that meet the actual bulb, right? So I log that. And then the way that the bulb goes up into the actual bloom, it curves out, right? It's not like a total tight bulb. It's curling out so that it goes with, whatever they are. I don't know what they are. Not petals. It's a thistle. But then it's got all these little pieces that are coming off, and on a lot of the references I found, they were very rigid, very spiky, looked like they hurt. I didn't like those. I wanted them more relaxed. So I found a reference where they're more relaxed. So this is kind of the epitome of what I'm shooting for with these, and to carry it throughout. So these will all look different because I'm going to be dialing all the parts. But they're going to resemble the same sort of thing, so you at least know they're all thistles. This is a study. They are the worst, but they're so pretty. Highlights and see. Heroes Con was nah, and then Super Con was nah. So the past 2 cons that we've actually, done distance to, where we've had to fly, have not been so hot. Did we break even at Heroes? No, we definitely didn't break even at Heroes, but Heroes was good for other reasons. You always have to kind of find the silver lining, right? And SuperCon, we did break even barely, but both the cons, we were told, because usually if a con is slow or we're not doing well, we'll start asking around, and we'll be like, okay, how's it for you? And if they say it's kind of slow or bad, we'll be like, well, were you here last year? And they'll be like, yes, no. If it's yes, usually they'll tell you why it was different, if it was better the year before, or if it's bad, or if it was good 2 years ago and it was at a different location and it's since moved. So both these cons have moved, apparently, in the past year or two. Heroes didn't, did it?
No.
Okay,
it's
so SuperCon did. SuperCon moved.
Heroes just had a hiccup somehow.
Heroes had a hard time because I think people were saying they were trying a new ticket system where the people that got there, I think, was it Saturday or Friday? Either one of those, they couldn't get in. Like, the line was hella long, took forever, like hours to get in. So it was very slow for us because people were just trickling instead of having a giant crowd, right? So, you get used to doing cons. Like, Gabe and I do 2 to 3 a month, and you get used to the ups and downs. And then you have to kind of figure out, well, it was slow, whatever. At least we have kind of the money to take that hit. We're still okay, right? But it is good to just let it roll off, because most of the time it's not you. If you've had good cons, then you can usually say, well, it wasn't really me. Unless, of course, you keep going to the same kind of con. Like, let's say I kept going to anime cons. I would still be doing bad. Like, I do horribly at anime cons. So, I recognize that early, after doing a year of them and being like, no, these are bad. And knowing what comic cons are like and how good I do at those. So, then you take the outlier, and get rid of it. So that all I'm doing is profit, right? So we took a big chance this year, and we're signed up for like 4 to 5 cons we've never gone to. So I think the ones we haven't gone to were Heroes Con, Super Con. I haven't been to Gen Con, and Keystone Comic Con. Wasn't there? Oh, we signed up for Colorado Springs, but we moved it to next year. But that would have been the 5th one. But next up, we've got Gen Con, which could be another bust for me, and it's just me going, and Gabe's going too, but he's not tabling, so it's just me. So I have to kind of make back what we choose to spend to get there. But then after that, it's Dragon Con and New York Comic Con in a row. So hopefully that makes up for it. But yeah, Heroes and SuperCon were kind of busts, and I learned I hate Florida with a passion. So probably won't be going back to SuperCon. Heroes will give another chance. It was cheap enough to go to and to actually, stay there, and it was close enough to the hotel where it's like, yeah, we could try this again. But Paladin wants to know what you're working on.
I'm working on some comics.
Comics. So hopefully all I said about the study thing makes sense. Because what sucks about studies and how, no one really teaches you how to do a study. Honestly, back in school they didn't really say specifically, hey, take out your sketchbook and draw 1 million of this thing. Like, I think people just figure out how to do studies kind of on their own. And most people are doing just 1 billion of one thing in their sketchbook, right? And unless you're really aware of what you're studying and drawing while you're doing it, you're not really retaining anything. You have to be pretty cognizant of, well, I'm doing this line because this is what I'm seeing here. Break down the form, because that's going to be super important for logging it in your memory. So I've never drawn a thistle. This is the first time I've actually dissected one in my head, right? But right now I'm making a formula while I'm looking at it that later on I'm stashing it in my visual library, so that later on I'm like, okay, well, from what I remember and what I thought of when I looked at this thing, it's got this part, this, and that to me will make a thistle. And in doing that, in doing those kind of styles, that's going to actually teach you to make a style. So the way I draw thistles now is because of all of the things I choose to include and exclude, right? So if you looked at a picture of a thistle, right, and this is why it's so much more important to look at a source image or the thing in real life versus someone else's interpretation of it, because you're technically then interpreting something else someone interpreted, instead of looking at the raw thing, feeding it through your filter, and pumping it out as you would, if that makes sense. So, like I said, I'll be able to later on just kind of pull it from my memory and be like, well, I remember thistle had this, and this part was over this way, next to this thing, all that sort of stuff. I mean, it's kind of like doing math. Math can kind of stick with you as long as you're, thinking about how it's working and, you're doing it often. Kind of the same thing. You have to be thinking about how it works. Otherwise, you're not going to retain it. People don't usually teach stuff about how to better retain stuff, which I think is just being aware of what you're doing. It does take effort, and it is kind of a pain in the ass, but it's worth it in the end because, like I said, you're going to remember it. It's going to stick with you. And it becomes kind of meditative when you figure out how to do it. Math can be, for sure. I respect math a ton, and I used to really enjoy it when I was knee-deep in it in school. Because, math is just puzzles, right? Word puzzles were a little bit harder. The word problems with math, that kind of had a tendency to throw me for a loop. But for the most part, I really did enjoy math. It's when you've been away from it from a long time that it's pretty hard to get back. I used to really enjoy long division, but the last time I tried to do it, I couldn't remember a damn thing. Really, I did. I used to like it. I hated proofs, though.
Yeah.
Proofs were the worst. Because that was almost like writing an essay in math form.
Mm-hmm.
It's well, why is this thing like this thing? Well, it's because of the hypotenuse of the isosceles and the blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, damn, no. Can I just draw it? It's okay.
I think it was worse when you already knew the answer, but then you have to explain it.
Yeah, because then you have to think about what you were thinking about.
Yeah.
Yeah. You had to tell them your feelings. Paladin, how are you? What are you up to? Well, bye, Fire Seal.
Oh, dude.
Have a good night. Stats and probability. Probability was kind of cool though because it at least was something you could use. That and ratios. I really wish I had paid more attention with ratios. That'd be helping me so much now. Fractions though, god damn it. I don't know what it was. And all the girls I felt were bad at fractions. I don't know. All of us were just shit poor at it.
I feel like it's fractions is one of those things. If you didn't have someone teaching it to you properly, you're never gonna get it.
Yeah.
They gotta make it a good comparison.
Yes. The way they tell you has to be the way you need to learn it.
Yeah.
Basically. Yeah. In this timeline. Oh yeah, graphing calculator stuff. That could be cool. Whenever you do it right, which is very seldom, but it was fun. If you could get a really nice curve and be like, oh, that's what it's supposed to look like. Then you're like, whoa, I did the thing. But it was like, oh, thanks, Paladin. See you later, alright? Sleep well.
I always liked how it would animate it. The curve.
Yeah.
you run the program or whatever, and then it would animate the curve.
Well, I didn't really use that. I mean, plotting the points and then drawing it on. Like.
Oh, you did it like on paper.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes, I did on paper.
No, I mean like when you were using like my algebra teacher was all about computers. He was actually oh my god, he was Ron Swanson.
Was he?
But he was like really overweight. But he was basically Ron Swanson, and he had like this little tiny like 70s computer, and he would type like with the fingers, like.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
But he taught us how to do like programming in the thing.
Oh, really?
Yeah. He taught us sort of like what all the not all of them, but all the like the programming language, like the things, you know.
Mm-hmm.
But I remember one of them. He showed us how to actually do the curve thing with the graphing calculator, so that when you were done with it, you know, you'd hit go, and it would like you type in like, all right, well, this is value for this value for that, this value for this, and then you'd hit enter, and it would like draw the little curve, and it'd be like.
That feels like cheating. Like, since I didn't have to do that.
I guess, but I mean,
we had to do it from scratch.
But that's what a calculator's for.
Yeah, but when in the hell are you going to use a graphing calculator?
Well, also, when in the hell were you ever going to use a curve system thing?
Parabolas?
Yeah.
I actually ran into this. When I was doing 3D for games, there was one instance I was like, oh my god, is this about parabolas? Do I actually have to do this? And then I just looked it up online though, so the internet helped a lot. Because I forgot how to do that completely. I was the jerk that like didn't know how to put games on my phone. So I always had other people do it for me because I didn't care enough. And then like there's that drug game too, where you were like selling drugs or whatever.
Drug Wars.
Drug Wars, and then there was Snake, and then there was another one that was like a block that was moving down this thing that you had to avoid stuff. I like those ones. Those are fun.
I think that's the one Eliza was talking about.
Oh, that's the block one?
I don't know.
I like that one.
The last calculator I used was the TI-82.
I think mine was the 83.
Yeah. And that one came out like right as I was leaving high school.
When did you leave high school, Gabe?
98. And they had the TI-85, but it was like an extra $100 or an extra $50. So like,
right?
You had to be rich to get the 85.
Why were graphing calculators so goddamn expensive?
$200?
Yeah, I think the one I bought was like $75. My dad's like, what?
Yeah.
He's like, this is way more than a Game Boy. Why? I don't understand. I was like, I don't.
That's probably why people started programming games into it. I was like, well,
might as well. It's a system now.
Yeah.
Now it's a handheld. Come on. It's ridiculous.
But back in the day, they didn't have like the cable to transfer games.
Yeah.
You had to code it yourself. So they didn't have very like complex games back in the day.
And then Snake and stuff, right? You still had that?
No.
What did you have?
They were all basically word games.
Oh, but I love word games!
Like choose your own adventure games.
Yay!
Yeah. I remember there was a Calvin and Hobbes one. The drug war game was a thing, but you'd have to sit there and copy line for line for line, you know?
Yeah.
So I started, that forced you to learn the code, and then you started understanding what different things did and how it worked.
Maybe that's better. I believe that, Lung. Yeah, definitely. That is so messed up. It's cool, though, because I was at a Walmart the other day, and they have calculators for $1.
Yeah.
And I was like, damn it, I needed this. And I had bought like an $8 calculator a little while ago for actual taxes. And I felt gypped, man. I was like, I could have had a $1 calculator. This is cute too. And it was like this cute color for women. No, I'm just kidding. It was just a green. But anyway. Are you gonna play No Man's Sky again? Did you like it? Or?
Yeah, Yeah, no, it was a lot of fun. I keep calling it No Man's Land in my head.
Yeah. I think it's called No Man's Sky though because of that one quote where it's like, you know, the man can't own the space or the sky.
Mm.
So it's No Man's Sky.
Mm.
But maybe it is like No Man's Land, like a play on that.
Mm-hmm.
I just think about the fact that no one's going to own space. You know, Trump can't buy space with Space Force. Sorry. Though he might try.
Well, I think it's funny.
Yes, Man's Sky.
People are selling like pieces of the moon.
Haven't they always been?
That's what I mean. Like,
I mean, you can buy, like stars.
that's fucked up. Because at some point, I guess it won't matter by the time we're able to harness the power of stars.
Stars.
But at some point, it's gonna be like, no, wait, my grandpa owned that star.
That's our star. You can't have
You
it.
can't harvest it for your spaceship.
Grandpa paid $12 to NASA for that star. You just buy. I knew some people that are like, well, I bought Daphne a star for her birthday. It's like, okay.
Oh, Daphne.
She can't ever touch it, hold it,
Mhm.
maybe never see it. Unless you get the bitch a telescope, you know? Like, I can see my star. Oh, wait, is that one it? No, I don't know. Never mind. Why isn't there Google Sky or Google Space where we can, like,
They have
do what
that.
we do with Google Earth but look at the stars?
They have that.
Do they?
Or I think
What's it called?
somebody has an app where this is like one of the older apps on iPhone where you could go like that and you could look at all the constellations and the stars and
Oh,
shit
that's
and where the
dope.
planets were. Yeah. It was like AR before AR was AR.
I see. It's really weird lately when I reply to somebody on my art page on Facebook, it alerts me that Cloverkin replied to someone, and it's getting,
It's really weird.
I know. So it's telling me I replied to someone. It's like, yes, thank you. I know. Yeah, that's so weird, isn't it, Snig? It's like, damn, you guys. Really, come on. You didn't buy shit but a piece of paper. It's true, man. It's true. So I knew this piece would be a little bit more meditative, and it really is, because what I'm doing while I'm doing this is focusing on the motion of each one of these tendrils, right? I'm not calling them tendrils because I don't really know what they are. And making sure the consistency of their thickness is the same. That one got a little thick right there. But for the most part, this is, I think, the meditative part of art that people talk about. When you're actually, like, you know, consciously thinking about every line you're doing and, you know, working on making sure things are consistent and similar, stuff like that. Which it is pretty fun. And I mean, you're getting more experience by, you know, doing this. So. They almost look like sea anemones, but that's how they look though. And they seem to have little, I don't know what you call those. There's a word, barbs. They have barbs on each one of them. Yeah, I think not every time are they gone, Serenity. We're seeing, the light we're seeing though is really old. So they could be dead. They might also still be alive. But, oh, okay, Sniggle. Get some more sleep.
I did. Bye.
But yeah, I think you're right with that, Serenity, that the light we do see is super old. It's from a while ago. Which is basically like seeing an old photograph now. You know? Which is a weird way to think about it. Some interstellar shit. Is anybody working on anything cool right now? Who's drawing? Tell me you're drawing. Gabe, are you drawing?
Yes.
Gabe's drawing. You drawing? Thank you, Lights and Sea. Thistles are pretty fun, man. I'll give you that. And as you can see, a lot of this pencil work is really thick. It's thicker than my pen, right? So this is why I was talking about basically all the time about having a, pencil lead that's thicker than, what you're gonna ink with, or just in general over a 0.7. Because using thinner lead is really gonna make you want to get detailed quickly, and that's not what you should be doing right away when you start a piece. Like, you want to worry more about, the direction everything's gonna go and what's happening in it, rather than, like, if I start doing this right now, what I'm doing way early on, that's the other thing too. You don't want to pencil out every single thing like I'm doing right now. That would have been a waste of time. Just have a better idea of what you're doing, and as you do this more, you're going to get more confident with it. So if you look here, I've just got it kind of masked out with a pencil really shittily, even, where it's going to go. No, I'll put some stuff right here, and that's it, right? That's it. If I do go into it, like here, it's really just to show the direction I want them to go. It's not the actual things, right? But yellow flower pencil. Mage, I've been digging all of your, like, environmental stuff you've been doing.
Mm-hmm.
You're killing it. I think you're really meant for doing that stuff. And if you're enjoying it, keep going. If you don't want to do faces or people, you don't have to. But if you're enjoying all the environmental stuff, because it really looks like you have been. Usually you can see when an artist is enjoying what they're doing, and it really does look like you're having fun. So, I think you should keep at it. You're doing great. Okay, what are you going to be doing on your stream Monday, do you know?
Not sure. Probably more Copic stuff.
Oh, remember, next week, for those of you who did Journey June, the first day of our class, if you signed up for it, is Monday. So if you picked Monday, it is the upcoming Monday. So be aware that, we're going to be sending out a link to where you watch it in your email. The email you gave us in the survey. So it's coming up.
What class is this? Lillian asked what class.
Oh, Lillian. So Gabe and I did a monthly challenge called Journey June, and it was for all of June, and it was based off the hero's journey. Which, if you're not familiar with the hero's journey, it's basically the formula every great story's ever been written on, honestly, even religious texts and stuff, honestly. So any movie like Star Wars, Lord of the Rings, anything like that, any story, basically the hero's journey. So what we did is, if you look at our Instagram there, or the website, you can see that every day we took a prompt and a piece of the hero's journey, And the hero's journey wasn't exactly what we made it into, but we took the base of it and extrapolated it to fit 30 days for the month of June. So every day, all of our people were making a piece. Doesn't have to be rendered, doesn't have to be finalized, could be really, really, really rough. Just as long as we could see what was happening in the drawing itself, so that it aligned with the prompt. And every day, one prompt would lead to the next one. So by the end of June, you have an entire story. And we thought of this mainly because we were taking other art challenge monthlies and making them into narratives, because we like stories better. We're artists that like to write too. We write and illustrate our own stories. So, for all the artists we know of that have either said they have tons of characters or said they had lots of stories, and we can never really have them prove it, this was a chance for them to get a story under their belt. And the tough thing about story writing and just making any type of story in general is to just do it, because it is a long process usually. You can make short stories too, but the whole thing is to make smaller stories, to build up enough momentum, to understand how stories work, to actually go through the process of making one, because every project has ups and downs. And if you've never, started a big project from start to finish, you don't know what to expect with that. Now that we've done a bunch of stories and projects, we know there's an ebb and flow to every project. There's a point where you're having a high point, there's a low point, there's, you're going through your own hero's journey while you're writing a hero's journey, basically, right? So with this, at the end of June, we said if you complete the entire monthly challenge, we're offering a publishing class at the end, so that if in the future, now you know how a story feels to complete, start to finish, you know how that feels. The scary thing is when people start a story, they're like, well, even if I finish it, what am I going to do with it, right? We wanted to offer a class so that you could actually know how to finalize that story, make it into a digital book, a zine, a really nicely bound book. We wanted to show people all three of those options that they could do regardless of their financial situation, all that sort of stuff. And it's a free class. All you had to do was finish the challenge, and then you take the survey, you sign up for the class, you prove to us that you did it, that sort of thing. So it's been wild, to say the least, and we were doing it along with everybody. So every time we streamed during the month of June, we were doing our stories too. So we'd do it with you, and we would say, if you haven't done it yet today, come do it now. Come work with us. We'll have a little art jam. We'll all do it together. And the buddy system thing, support system, it helps. So we did that all of June, and by the end it was kind of crazy, but everybody that was really gung-ho about it seemed to finish it.
Mm-hmm.
And we were proud of everyone that participated. Some dropped out. That's okay. They're only letting themselves down. Hopefully eventually they'll pick it up again. Who knows? But if they had finished it, they could say, I've written a story. Hopefully someday. But for those that finished it, signed up for the class, there are 2 days that they could do the class. One is on the 23rd, which is Monday, and the other one is the 29th, which is Sunday after that, which is actually the Sunday before Gen Con. Ooh.
Mm-hmm.
Well, do you remember how many people applied for a class? I can actually tell you. I was using SurveyMonkey, which is actually a really good way to do that sort of stuff. Yeah, Bodhi, didn't exactly finish it, but you were doing really nice for when you did it.
Mm-hmm.
So Serenity, we got 34. So 34 people, at least, finished it. We do have people, too, that are now doing Journey June and July. They've got their own hashtag they started. So they're doing the whole thing again, but they're doing it for July, which I thought was really cool. It seemed like there was a little group of self-driven people that wanted to be a part of it.
Mm-hmm.
So, and there are still people that are finishing up Journey June, because I always check back on the Instagram profile once in a while and go through them. and there's still people that are finishing it up. And honestly, if you are one of those people that didn't finish it, finish it. It doesn't matter if it's on time or not. Finish it. Finish something, okay? Because that's going to do so much for you. You don't think it will, but it absolutely will. At least mentally, you'll feel really good about it. I promise.
Dan's here.
Dan Mox, hello. Thank you for the bits.
Dan Gosling.
No.
Yeah.
What are you doing here? Eliza, the times, like the actual time. Oh, let's see. What did I put? It was on a Sunday and a Monday. So Monday the 23rd, we had put, I think it's like 4 p.m.? Something like that?
That was 2.
Oh, no, that's on Sunday. That's on Sunday. So, July 23rd is at 7 p.m. Central, okay? And then July 29th, that's that Sunday, is at 2 p.m. Central. So we tried to have one that was on a weekday, one that was on a weekend, and then having them at times where we've got at least one for overseas people. And we will be sending out like a link for the, I'm going to call it a webinar, but we'll be doing that like the day of whatever one you picked. Watching some arts get crafted. Cool, man. Cool. Oh, Bodhi. It was a lot of people. I was so surprised. And honestly, we knew there'd be a few that finished. Honestly, I thought it'd be like under 10.
Mm-hmm.
But the fact 30 people for our first monthly challenge, that's nuts.
Yep.
Like, that's crazy. Not only that, but it was a difficult challenge. It was difficult, especially for people who had not done storytelling of any kind yet. It's amazing. I can't wait to do next year. We're going to have to figure something else out, though. But in terms of prizes, might go a little bit, better stuff. But, yeah, it is a lot of people. That means there's 34 stories that are just sitting out there right now, How long do you think the class will be? I'm thinking 1 to 2 hours. Because the hardest one is the Perfect Bound book, teaching someone to do that. It's going to be a little tough for anybody who's never picked up Photoshop, because you need Photoshop for the Perfect Bound, but for the zine and the digital book, it should be kind of easy. Those ones should go pretty quick. I'm thinking maybe 15 minutes each for those. And then the book Perfect Bound, a little bit longer.
Yeah, probably.
I could see it going over an hour a little, but yeah. A mushroom burger price? What? Eliza, what? What are you talking about, girl? Oh man, that makes me want mushroom Swiss really bad. Oh my god, we're having burgers sometime this week. So it's been a while since I had a mushroom Swiss, though. Since before we left, for sure. A mushroom burger prize. What is a mushroom burger prize? What? Yeah, not Illustrator. No, Illustrator is honestly rarely used unless you're in a specific industry or you do a lot of vector work. Okay? Even when I was in mobile games, I never used Illustrator. Hardly ever. Ever. Unless we were gonna use a banner or something. It's mainly for print. That's gonna be huge because a lot of vector stuff.
Well, a lot of graphic designers will use it for...
But that's because it's going to be print.
Yeah, for print.
They need it to be able to be sized a million different ways. But Photoshop usually for books, prints, anything like that.
You're not making like a giant book that necessitates all that. Like, that's for companies, really.
Yeah.
Everything you need
is Photoshop.
Is in Photoshop.
Yeah, you'll be okay just with Photoshop. But yeah, Illustrator would be overkill for this and would honestly be more of a pain to show people. So I'd rather not go down that route. But exactly, Bodhi. Isn't that weird? Shonda, you didn't have a URL for it. How did you fill out the survey? Did you send us an email? How did you send us your story? Exactly, yeah. InDesign would be the one you'd be using for a real book. Like, this is just self-publishing 101, basically. It's, you know, especially for the people, we know a lot of people that are going to be in this class don't even use Photoshop. So they're going to be kind of for a little bit on some parts of it, but I used InDesign back in 2003 and 4. So it probably wasn't what it is now because I was the yearbook editor those years. It was a thing. It was kind of, we were using on really old Macs too, so they were, bleh. Oh my god, Eliza, you meant InDesign? Yeah. You don't need InDesign if you're just publishing your own little book. It's really for, like Bodhi's saying, really, you know, involved, legit books. Like a book company that's printing your book might be using it, but even so, when you give your book pages to be self-published to, like, the printer we use, they just want a PDF. That's it. And you can do that in Photoshop. Like, you know. Eliza, you might need to sleep, yeah. Oh, Shonda, then you're fine. If you had your own hashtag? No, that's perfect. We preferred that, so it was easier to find people's stuff online. We didn't really like that, you know, some people would have to send us an email with all of them in it and stuff. If you have your own hashtag, that's perfect. You're fine. No, the fact you've got a hashtag, that's more than okay. It's preferable, even. What the hell is creative designer? Liza, I haven't heard of that. What is that? Who makes that? Who done it? How's Albert going?
Just finished the page.
Are you still just doing lines for that?
Yeah.
That's nice. It's quick.
It is now, Mr. Crane. Now that you got here.
Oh no. It's the total nerd stream.
Thanks for making it a nerd stream.
Oh good, Shonda. We're probably going to be doing it on YouTube, just so you know. But we'll be sending out a link the day of whatever class you've got to your email. So be alert that there's a link coming your way on those days. Or rather, that day. That's crazy. I've never heard of that, Eliza. Sometimes drawing lines is super therapeutic, you guys. Sometimes you just gotta draw lines. Should be good. I'm kind of feeling like we're gonna go kind of fast, but in the end we'll have, you know, obviously time for questions, and if anybody wants further anything, you know, we do have basically the same class as a mentorship. So if you want to learn how to make books and prints and stuff like that, and let's say you didn't finish during June, you can still get it. It's just for the mentorship price, you know. So it's still a possibility, but... Hi, bees! Oh, bees.
Bees.
Need them for the staff. No, Serenity. You know, you and I have that patience problem. I think when it comes to art, we're okay. I think you'd be fine. Especially when you get in the groove. You know, there's something to it where you're just kind of like, yeah, man, this is super chill. I like this. I think we're be okay. The hard part is then thinking of all the little shadows I want to put in. So we'll see about that. Also, I hit 1,000 followers on Twitch.
Yeah.
last stream. So, probably be doing a giveaway coming up soon, and it'll probably be on the stream. Like, you have to be in the chat to participate. That's what I did for my last giveaway stream, so most likely what I'll do is I'll draw something during the stream and give it away during the stream. Probably be a longer stream too, but I'm not sure yet when it's going to take place, because we have 1, 2, 3, 4, at least 4 cons left this year. Yeah, so we'll see. We'll see when that is. You're playing Wii right now, FaZe? Cool, man. What you playing? I thought the Wii was a good system. I enjoyed it. Okay, so we got a couple of sizzles. Sizzles? Sizzles? Some things are just beat up. Oh yeah, when's that convention you guys are going to? ODBs. Nice. Twilight Princess was a good one. Could have done without the whole wolf transformation thing, but beggars can't be choosers. I was just happy there was a gritty Zelda, honestly. Alright, so this I was gonna make wood. So let's make this wood, because I really wanted to. It's like, how do I fit wood into this? Oh, cool! That's actually Gabe's birthday weekend.
Mm-hmm.
Gabe's
It's
birthday
Dragon Con
is
weekend.
on the 2nd of September.
It's also Dragon Con weekend.
It's also Dragon Con, yeah. This Dragon Con is 5 days long, which is kind of ridiculous for a convention. Is San Diego even 5 days? Is it now? It didn't used to be, right?
No, it's always been.
It's always been
It's
5
always,
days?
I mean, not always, but for the past 10 years, it started on Wednesday.
Okay. But it's not like Wednesday during the day, right? It was during the night?
Yeah, Wednesday's preview night. It's like 6 to 9.
Right, so that's not like Dragon Con. Dragon Con's like a full day, which is crazy. So
Wait,
usually,
Dragon Con doesn't start on Wednesday, does it?
no, but it goes till
Sorry.
Monday.
Oh, yeah.
Remember?
Yeah, yeah.
So Dragon Con goes Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday.
Mm-hmm.
So it's 5 days.
Galvaconception.
Right, Serenity? So I was actually thinking about these. It's funny you mentioned that, but I was like, these are all like tiny, fortifications, right? Because I called it Fortified Flora. So that means they're houses, or at least structures. That means something could live in them. And then I was like, what is living in them? And then of course I went to fairies. I'm sure there are fairies living in blah blah blah. But whatever. Oh, a board gaming convention in Germany. What's that one called? Ours is called Gen Con, which is probably the only, I think that's the only the board gaming convention we've got, isn't it? That's huge.
I think there might be one other one, but basically Gen Con is the big one.
I don't think Gary Con counts. Pretty sure.
Yeah.
That was the D&D one.
The one up here?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So
I think
wasn't-
it used to be Gen Con, but then Gen Con's separated from them.
Right? Yeah, that's what I remember. That was in that documentary, right?
I think so.
Board Con?
Yeah.
Oh, it's like the European Gen Con? Cool. Spiel October 25th through 28th. Wow. Oh, that's actually the same time TwitchCon's going on. Which we got put on the waiting list for TwitchCon, so we're not sure if we're going to TwitchCon yet, but we'll see. The plants are living in the fair, Crane. Fair. Do it, Bodhi. That's what those things are good for, man.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's nice of you, Lillian. Thanks for coming. Have fun moving. It can be terrible, but also fun. Especially if you're in good company. So have fun with that. Thanks for coming. I was thinking of still going to Hobby Lobby. Did you need anything?
No.
Would you want to go?
Sure.
Can you go?
Yeah.
So Gabe might be playing more No Man's Sky tonight, depending on his workload. So for those of you who were there last night, watching him stumble through the beginning of it, that's fun though.
You know what's weird is that, like, this morning I kept having, like,
Flashbacks?
sort of, you know, like when you're, like, you're half awake and half up, and you're having, like, you're just, like, thinking about things?
Yeah.
Well, it was very, like, hazy dreaming about collecting things so that I could build things, so that I could collect things, so I could...
See, that sounds like Minecraft, but Space Minecraft, which I think is up your alley.
Yeah.
Yeah. Basically, that's what it is. It is Space Minecraft.
Mm-hmm.
With a more adult, whatever.
Yeah, Crane.
I don't know if we can play together. Is it local?
Yeah.
They do have local?
I don't know.
Because local multiplayer, so many games nowadays don't have local multiplayer, and it's driving me nuts. I miss that so much. Like, this is how far we went for Destiny. When we were playing Destiny, we got super into it, so we wanted to play together. So we got another PS4 and another copy of the game just to play Destiny together, because they don't have local co-op. So we had TVs next to each other, PS4s next to each other, and we were playing with each other online, but we were in the same room. It was overkill. It's like, why not just give us local multiplayer? Come on! It's like Halo, you know? Halo was the last one I remember being local. After that, I don't remember much.
Call of Duty's.
Well, that's the same time frame.
I mean, up until, like, recently, Call of Duty was still all local.
It's crazy, though. And I still kind of want to give Destiny 2 a shot.
It's like $20 at Walmart, I saw.
Yeah, but we'd need a second PS4.
Mm-hmm.
So we were borrowing Tim's PS4 during the time. Because he wasn't into games at the time so much, and now he's more into them. So he took it back, obviously, which is obviously fine.
We'd also need a second television.
Oh, we've got 3 TVs. That little one.
A real television?
I'd take the little one.
Do you remember how difficult it was to play?
But I'd have it right next to me on that little thing. No, it was fine. I was fine with it. It only matters if I'm fine with it, because I'd take it. Because I know you like the bigger TVs.
Not that like bigger TVs now. You can get like a big TV for $300, like a cheap one.
He always brings this up.
I'm just saying, like, it's ridiculous that you can get like a 40.
You know, it's not impressive to kids, right? Because they're like, well, yeah, of course, TVs are. But for us, we've been there when they were like $1,000.
Guys, yeah. Like if you wanted a 40-inch TV, you gotta be rich.
It's true, Bodhi. He can't see. He's blind.
Yeah.
It's good.
It's me.
But my PS3 is so wonky. I need to like get rid of it because it overheats within 15 minutes and then just bricks itself. Like every time I've replugged it in, I'm like, oh man, it's working! And then I'll be like, doo-doo-doo, and I'll start playing something, and then it'll just brick at some point. I'm like, shit. Fine. So either way, we need another PlayStation of some kind. Let's go down to this one. Is it clogged with dust? I don't think so. I kept it pretty clean, and it's still pretty, like, good condition physically. I've just taken it to a million places, and I think at one time it got overheated too much, so it might have just fried itself. It might need to be cleaned. I don't know. To be fair though, it was refurbished in the first place when I bought it, so it's probably just shot. It wasn't brand new when I bought it. Yeah, it sounds like it's just shot to me. I mean, I used to mod my PS2 and stuff, so I'm kind of familiar with the insides. I made my PS2 into a flip top. It was pretty cool. But it was to play Japanese games, and it was really fun. Anyway. But yeah. Yeah, it's not worth it really to me at this point, especially with how much I don't game anymore. I used to be so hardcore. Not anymore. I do not have the time. It is not worth it. My time is so much better spent with my passions, you know? Especially when you get older, you get that mortality thing kind of sinking in, and you're like, man, I'm gonna die. I'm gonna die so soon, it's crazy. So, I feel a little bit pressure to, like, not waste my time. I don't know. I cleaned the bathroom this morning, and I was like, man, I'm wasting so much time right now. I've got some hang-ups. It's okay. Everybody does. That's crazy, Mage. How'd you get that? Punisher on Netflix? No. That's the new Punisher, right?
Oh, I totally forgot that even existed.
Is it good, Crane?
Or wait, did he have... He got his own show like 2 years ago, right?
Something like
Is
that.
that what happened?
It's not new.
No.
I don't think. I don't even know how that's doing. I haven't heard anything about that. Did you want to talk about the DC channel or whatever?
Oh, I don't even know anything about it. Did anybody see the Teen Titans trailer?
The only part that was cool was when he said "fuck Batman." That was cool. But that's it.
Yeah. I really did not like the, what's her face?
Starfire?
I'm okay with
Raven?
Starfire. Raven was just...
You didn't like Raven?
God.
She was, emo.
It wasn't even that. It's just...
Wasn't she kind of snarky and funny, though, in the show? Even
Yeah.
though she was dark. She was,
Yeah.
like...
And it seems like this show is, like, gonna revolve around her.
It should be on the
and
fucking
Robin.
CW. It feels like one of those.
It looks like one of those.
It looks like Arrow or any crap like that. And I'm not... I didn't like The Flash. I didn't like Arrow. I don't like any of those. I don't think they're well made.
I don't like the production that they're using. It's just... I don't know.
Yeah, I'm with you, Lon.
Everyone seems to like Riverdale, though, so I don't know.
Dude, I got hooked into that for like the... So I was watching Supernatural, as I'm known to do, and after it ended, I had left it on a little too long, because I use the CW app, and I Chromecast it, and I'd left it on too long, and I'd started playing Riverdale, and I don't know shit about Archie. Like, I don't know anything. But I got sucked into that for like the first 20 minutes, and I was like, what? I didn't even know I was watching Riverdale.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't even know what it was, and I was like, whoa, what is this? So, I don't know, it pulled me in for a little bit. I haven't watched anything since that, but it was like, what? I don't know. But yeah, I'm tired of it too. I'm tired of everything. Can I just say that? I'm tired of everything. I think when you get older, you get bitter and angry because you've seen everything. Nothing's surprising anymore. nothing is as cool as when you're growing up and experiencing new things. I think that's why old people travel so much.
Mm-hmm.
They're looking for kicks that are easy to get that won't kill them,
Yeah.
you know? But I'm at the point now where I'm just like, nothing is cool. I don't know. And I'm sick and tired of everything, and it sucks being in the con sphere so often because that's like the worst place to be if you're sick of everything. Because it's all people who aren't sick of everything that still love everything, and you're there and you're bitter and you're bleh. That's me. I'm that guy. I'm a grandpa, basically. I don't know, Serenity. I haven't seen any of the actual like episodes, but every time I've seen a trailer for it, it looked intriguing. But yeah, everything is based off a book now. I don't know. I want to see more chances taken on like smaller things, you know? So like indie, like I hope the next thing is maybe big studios having so much money they're gonna try things on little stuff. So like doing webcomic shows. Like that'd be kind of cool.
Like taking a webcomic.
Like taking that, what is that one made by that girl named Sarah? It's always got the little character with the big eyes, and she's got really black hair. It's black and white.
Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
Like, what if they made that into a series?
Mm-hmm.
You know, I'm not saying live action, but like even an animated series, kind of like Simon's Cat.
Oh yeah.
Like, what if they just went back to the 90s, like for Garfield, and took little Sunday comic digestible things and made those into shows again, but using webcomics. So like even a Tumblr webcomic that's big on like, you know, trans and all that stuff,
I can see that.
and doing that, because that would help with their exposure and everything and dealing with it. Like, that could be cool. No, I don't know if that's her one. No, not that one. It's black and white, and it's usually, I saw one of her recently. It was about...
She looks cracked out like all the time.
Yeah, the character looks really cracked out. Almost like, almost Invader Zimmy, but not. I bet if I just type in Sarah Comic, I might get it. Yeah. Oh my god, if you just type in Sarah Comic, you get it. Sarah Anderson. Sarah Anderson. She's who I'm thinking of. So, like, this girl. Yeah, her name is Sarah Anderson. But, like, let's say they just started picking up webcomics and doing shows off that. Like, what's next, you know? Yeah, that one. Because that would harken back to, you know, things like Garfield and Heathcliff, and like there were so many other shows back when we were growing up that were actually based off comics that were like Sunday comics. Did they even have a family circus?
I want to say yes, but I don't know.
I remember that moving. Kind of, Mage, yeah. So it'd just be little digestible skits almost, you know? Yeah. I could see that becoming popular, but then having more heavy shows that are based on more the like Tumblr-esque ones you see. Because some Tumblr indie webcomics are fantastic, and some are just one post, you know?
It's too bad. Or like Dilbert. It did Dilbert.
Yeah, Dilbert was one too. Dr. Katz was one, wasn't it?
Oh, I don't know. That one wasn't.
No, I think that was.
Comic?
Yeah, Dr. Katz, I
know
think,
about
was
that.
a comic thing.
It's
The
too
Max was a comic.
Yeah, it's too bad they never made a Calvin and Hobbes comic or a cartoon, because that would have been.
Now, see, I could see that actually happening.
No,
Like
he's
now.
He's completely like.
Bill Watterson is against
He's
it?
against it. Yeah.
What if he dies?
I didn't then. Okay.
Because his daughter, I think,
Yeah.
would maybe be okay with that.
If she wanted to cash in, she would. Ooh.
Because, I mean, they're doing that Winnie the Pooh Christopher Robin thing, which looks like it's going to make me cry like crazy. Speaking of that, when does that come out? Oh, it was a stand-up act. Shit, you're right, Juan. I do remember that.
Release date August 3rd.
So it's August?
Yeah.
Oh, Gen Con.
So we can watch it when we come back.
Really, Lon? Wow. Wow. Because I could see so many people, like, just wanting that so hard. I could actually see that being a really good movie, too, if done right. Like a Calvin and Hobbes movie. That could be extremely moving.
Oh, like with the, like a live action?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, if they do it right so it's not hokey, you know, and honestly, a little bit, not totally the Spike Jones Where the Wild Things Are, but that kind of innocence but heaviness, you know?
Because I imagine his parents probably have, like, I remember some of the comics where they're, like, yelling at each other.
Yeah.
And they're, like, obviously upset at each other about something. It's like, yo, that'd be crazy.
Yeah. I mean, it could be done heavily and still lighthearted. I guess just truthful. I mean, as a creator, I totally understand where he's coming from. Like, I'm sure I would probably do the same thing if I had a specific vision for something, absolutely. So I don't blame him at all. Not one bit. I get it. But at the same time, you know, out of everything that's out there, obviously Peter Rabbit was... God. I could tell just by the trailers that wasn't going to be a good one. But, like, it could be done well if done right, you know. I'm surprised so many of Stephen King's stories translate so well and have continued to. Because, like, The Green Mile was a Stephen King one, wasn't it?
Yes?
Yeah. And I mean, Maximum Overdrive was hilarious and scary. Yeah. Green Mile was Stephen King. Dark Tower, was that Stephen King? Because that was actually bad.
I think so. But I think the books were supposed to be really good.
Yeah, Dark Tower movie was bad.
Yeah, I think because everyone kept talking about Dark Tower. Everyone kept telling me to go read Dark Tower.
Yeah, it was, and the people that read the book seemed to be pissed at the movie. Even though I did kind of like Matthew McConaughey as a baddie, but his neck is so distracting. But I'm just surprised at how often his stories translate so well to cinema. In The Shining, though, that's a whole thing. If anybody wants to read up on how that was done, that's actually really interesting because Kubrick was a dick about it, and told King he was going to do it his way, and he did, but, you know, Stephen wasn't happy about it. Like, it was a whole thing. I had a friend that was super into all this stuff. But it's just interesting, because usually you get someone that their books have been done in a bunch of cinema, and it's not always so good. FaZe, did you read the comics? Or are you talking about the comics? Are you talking about the comics or the movie? Switching over this a little bit. Was it your decision to talk in person or hers?
Hers.
Smart. Respect. No, I believe that. Honestly, I know it's bad of me to say, but at the same time, I'm being truthful about it. There are so many musicians and artists in general that did their best work while they were on something. Like, I'm gonna say Trent Reznor and Tori Amos. Yeah. Like, they never reached where they were back then, in my opinion, when they got sober. And I'm not saying to keep doing drugs. I'm just saying sometimes that sacrifice was made for something pretty amazing. And they literally put themselves in it, and you can tell. It's crazy. Because sometimes, like, after they go past it, I know you guys can think of other bands and stuff, they can't ever touch it again. Like, there was something there that, you know, can't be recreated. And maybe that was just more prevalent when we were younger. I don't know, because I don't think it's the same thing now.
Because everyone makes shit music now?
Because everyone makes shit music now. Phase, no, you liked both the comic and the movie, you mean? I mean, to each their own. That's fine. I thought the movie, though, was kind of poorly done. And Idris didn't have his accent. And it's like, why? I didn't see a good reason for him not to have it. Even if he's supposed to be an American cowboy or whatever, it seemed like it was... I don't know. Didn't need to be that way. He can bake so much better. Isn't that weird? I think it's just because people's inhibitions go out the window and then they're just free to be pure with whatever they're doing. And I do believe that some people can do that sober. Like, I like to think I can, you know? The times I've gotten, you know, either intoxicated or something, I can't do shit. But when I'm, you know, sober, I have a lot more clarity and purpose with what I'm doing. But some people need that. And I do really think some people have done their best work while on something. So, I'm not condoning it, but I am saying everybody taps their potential differently. That's part of learning how to hack yourself as an artist.
Flip book that has like 6 different things in it.
What? What are you saying?
This flip book has 6 different animations in it.
Yeah.
And one's like you flip it, and then you flip it again, it's a different animation, and then you flip it again, it's a different animation.
Like the entire book? Or it has chapters?
No, like I go through the entire one animation. Another animation.
Is it depending where you hold it?
I think, yeah, that's what it looks like, but I don't understand how that would affect it. It's really weird.
Bendito. Why is it called a bendito?
I have no idea. I mean, it's a... you can get one like on Indiegogo right now where you like color it yourself, which I think is dumb.
Oh, he is holding it at different spots.
Yeah.
How the fuck?
Right? I don't understand how that works.
I'm so confused. Post that on Facebook. Get other people's opinions. I don't understand. That's witchcraft. Bodhi, make one. Yeah, what? Oh, Bodhi's gone. Damn it. Yeah, I've never seen that before. That's insane. You're welcome, Mage. Thanks for coming. Enjoy the rest of your day, alright? Sometimes this is how you even out a mistake you made. You elongate one thing and shorten another thing. Ta-da! Mistake fixed. That's how you do it. Closer detail, you notice that the edges are cut in a specific way so that you can swap. Ah! Wow! So it's like a minuscule amount of indentation on each one? Wow, that's sick. I love it.
I still don't understand.
So like, think about a dictionary, okay, where it's got A, B, C, D, and each one's indented, okay? And if you go straight to that, right, it's got the whole section in that indent, okay?
So it only flips that many pages?
Well, they're all the same number of pages, but they're each indented a little bit differently. So when you put your finger on one, you're only doing those ones. And then the next one, you're only doing the next one. So there could be a couple pages in between, but if they're indented differently, you're going to be touching them different.
Nope.
That's insane.
I remember I always used to have people saying like, "Oh man, you should totally make a flip book. You should make a flip book. You should make a flip." No.
Gabe, with how fast you draw?
No, but the problem is the flip books. It's like it's really gimmicky. Like people don't actually
It is, but
buy
it could
those.
totally be high art.
But if I
that
ever
is like high art.
if I ever did that, it would be like in the corner of
One of your books?
of an art book. Yeah.
I see. I can understand. This piece is a little more involved than my other ones so far, which could be a problem. So if this one is more intricate than the other ones, it might not fit the mold, which kind of sucks. I mean, if you ever spend a lot of time on something that's meant for a series and it ends up where it's actually too, I'm not going to say too good, but too different, even if that difference is in quality, you know, you might have to throw it out of the series. But we'll see. Maybe I can even it out over time. What time is it right now?
6.
It is 6? What time do you think you'll stream them at?
I don't know, till midnight. Yeah, it's pretty trippy, Shonda.
Totally, man. How'd you find that?
I got an email about it was it's like a Kickstarter email.
Oh,
You know, and how they
highlight things? That was a
Yeah.
Kickstarter?
no, yeah, and they highlight. It's an Indiegogo right now.
Oh.
Oh, that's cool. You can get a blank one. They call it Blanco.
Lego! You should get one.
It's 320 pages.
I thought you were going to see dollars. I was like, what?
Mm.
Blanco.
It was cute because they give you like little. So on the cover, like when you peel it open, it's like double folds
Yeah.
on the cover, and they give you tips on like squash and stretch and exaggeration and shit.
Oh,
It's pretty cute.
like the 12 principles sort of thing?
Yeah, it's only 6 of them.
Why, it's cheap.
What? We got arcs, squash and stretch, ease in, ease out, timing, out, anticipation, exaggeration.
Those are all part of them, but they only give you 6?
Yeah. Well, I think that's enough. Yeah.
Oh, damn it, I forgot to show everybody the things again. But everyone's like gone. Who's still here that's normally here? If you're normally here and you sound off and we have enough of our normals, we'll show something. Way to be really obscure about it, right? Just call me Miss Vague.
$30. I just want a Blanco.
I just had somebody ask me on Instagram, how do you catalog all your loose leaf pages? And I'm thinking, how does anyone categorize any loose leaf pages? With folders. It's like, I don't want to be that guy, but I'm gonna have to be that guy. Aw, Shonda, that's sweet, thank you. Actually, I guess I could show it twice. So, I'll just show it on here. But where is my ink pad? Have you seen my brown ink pad? Can you actually look in my little purple cube?
For your what now?
My brown ink pad?
Oh. Where now?
No! Cube! 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 No! Cube! No! Cube! Yes! Christ!
There's like cubes everywhere.
I was pointing to which cube though.
There's green.
Where's the brown one?
This.
No, that's purple. Oh, Jesus.
This is green. It's everywhere.
Damn it.
Ooh.
How is it not? Stop making weird noises.
What?
Stop doing that, it's gross.
It's my hip.
It's gross. Here it is. Ha! I found it. Alright. So, there was a July 4th sale from a place that I usually buy stuff from, and it's a stamp maker. So I have my Cloverkin stamp. I've got this one where it's just my name, but I needed one that's also got my website. So Gabe and I got a pretty good deal, actually, on, we ordered 4 stamps, and he showed his the other day on his stream. And I should have pressed down more. That's okay. So I've got that one, which it was just like, oh, I just need this one. But the thing Obag showed. Yeah, Obag, that's him. But I got one that I wanted to have on all my orders going out because I wanted it to be pretty cute. And this is one I've always liked this drawing that I did. And it's kind of old at this point, but I was like, oh man, this would be perfect for like orders and stuff. So it's a little mouse with an envelope. And he's so cute, and I love him, and I made a stamp of him. So if anybody orders anything from me, you will get a stamp of this cutie little mouse with the mail. It's really cute. So anyway, I get really stupid excited over stamps. I have a thing with stamps. Oh my god, I love stamps. But, yeah. So, actually, like, being able to do stamps appropriately is kind of an art, because you have to learn how to properly like get all the ink on the stamp, but at the same time not get it on the edges of the stamp, which can be hard. So I've had a lot of practice with this now though, because one of my books that I have, if you guys look at my Instagram or my Etsy, you'll see that my symbols, a symbols book. It's been pretty good. So you can get pretty good consistency. This is super textured, so that's not helping. But as long as you don't get these edges on it, like I accidentally did on the back of this guy right there. But I don't know, man. I love stamps. I just love that it's basically a printer, and you get to control it. It's a control freak thing, I think. Really. But anyway. Also, there's this woman at a con that was dressed like in a kimono and this weird floppy hat, and she had these giant glasses and this weird expression. She had this giant backpack on her front that was just, I don't know. I can only guess she was lit up. She was like so thrown together. She was not cosplaying. Some people aren't cosplaying. She was not cosplaying.
She just walked out of her house like that.
Basically, yeah. She's like, I'm going to the con. Need my front backpack. Larry, I'm going to the con. Okay. Bring back fried chicken.
Ooh.
Right? It's always good when somebody brings home food. Oh, bye, Eliza. Yeah, go to sleep. You've been contemplating it forever. Go to bed.
Don't get blown up by winds.
Yeah, be careful. You've got storms happening. Storms. I'm contemplating stopping too. So I gotta get to making of the commissions. So I might be doing that soon. Just a reminder, if anybody's going to Gen Con, we're gonna be at Gen Con. And that's in Indiana. So, if you're going to Gen Con, let us know. I'd like to meet you. See you. I'm kind of a tough one to miss. If you do go to the con, you see an elf with a brown booth that looks like a tree. That's me. Pretty much guaranteed that's me. But, we will be streaming next week. Gabe streams on Mondays and Wednesdays. I stream on Tuesdays and Thursdays. As you are here right now, witnessing. Do you intend to color your Fortified Flora pieces? If I do, I haven't decided yet, and that's fine. You know, I want to see kind of how they all feel at the end, but if I do decide to color them, I firmly believe if you have very detailed inks, doing anything that's like rendered in terms of color is going to take away from the ink. I think the best way to treat inks is either with values, like flat values, flat color, or just really light gradients, really, or else you're going to be taking away from all the hard work you did with the ink. So if I do this, and I do color them, it's going to probably either be flats or gradients. But yeah. I'll have to see where it takes me, because I think part of the allure of flowers is their color, so I think I'd be doing a disservice not coloring them. But like I said, I don't want to, do too much to where, the color and the lighting or anything like that's taking away from them, So even saying lighting with these, I'm like, because not every project you do or anything like that needs to have rendering. I actually learned that within the past 2 years. It's actually kind of a newer, eureka moment I've had. It's like, if I don't want to render something, I don't have to. If I don't like doing shading, or if I just really like how flats look, I can do that. You can do that. Like, if you don't like doing something, don't do it. At least in terms of art. Especially if you've tried it and, it doesn't lend itself to your style. Maybe one of your styles it looks good with, but that doesn't mean it looks good with all your styles. So you don't always have to do it, you know? You can have many different styles, you can have many different preferences on how you want to treat a certain style. It's whatever's best for the art, and I think that's part of being a good artist, is understanding what the art needs and knowing that it's not always about you. You know, it's about what the art needs. So if it's like, well, this ends up needing to be neon colors for whatever reason, and I hate neon colors, it's like, well, it must need neon colors. I don't know, because I know that would best suit it or whatever. So I don't know. But in terms of, you know, shading and stuff, if you don't want to, you don't have to. Now, granted, that doesn't mean don't try it. So the only reason I know that is because, you know, I used to do it a lot with everything, and it just, every time it kind of felt wrong. It never really looked terrible, but it just, I don't know, I felt like every time that it could have just been left simple. And eventually I got to the point where it's like, well, why don't I just leave it simple? And it's fine. It's fine. You don't need to do anything. In fact, if I just want to leave these ink, I totally could. You know? Oh, let's see. So I still have some ways to go with this. Luckily, before I post this, I still have one more piece I can post, because I gave myself like a 2-day buffer. So, granted, I am running out of buffer in terms of these, so at some point I'm sure I'm gonna have to take a hiatus from them a little bit, just so I can build up more of a buffer, because these are easy to do at conventions, but when I'm actually at home I have to work on real work, so I think I'll probably be knocking out these mainly during conventions, but we will be also going back to our Journey June stories and working on those at some point. We haven't left those, and we do still want to make them into something. So, probably not this week or next week, but maybe when we get back from Gen Con, we do plan on going back to that. So all of you who were with us during Journey June, who saw, you know, us birth our stories, and, you know, we all were together for that, that might be kind of a treat, because then you can see, you know, our roughs becoming full illustrations and comics. Gabe's is going to be a comic. Mine turned into a comic. And, you know, we can talk about how to actually take the next steps with your stories, which a lot of people, I got some, like, comments about how to take it to the next step, because a lot of people were kind of confused and a little bit hesitant about what to do. So we could do it together, kind of like we did for Journey June, and I think that'd be the best way to handle it, honestly. So if anybody has been kind of sitting on it and kind of scared to do the next part, you know, like I said, maybe we can do it together. Anyway, Gabe, is there anything you want to talk about?
No.
Before we get going? How many more are you going to do? I don't know, honestly. How I figured it was when I started, I was like, well, I'll do a few, you know, maybe see how it goes. When I first did the beginning one, I was just planning on one. And then I was like, this is kind of cool, I want to do another one. I did another one, and it was enough in the realm of the first one. I was like, this could be a series. And I was like, well, if I do a couple more, that could be a postcard pack. If for whatever reason I can think of way more buildings, way more flowers, and keep going and get up to like 20 or 30, that's a book. So I'm not exactly capping myself on anything, and not all of them may get used, I don't know yet. It depends on how much I end up varying. The ones that feel kind of like outliers right now, to include them, I would either have to do more that's in the, I guess the camera that it is, it's kind of pulled out. So to kind of gradate the difference between where they are now, because they've actually started to zoom in quite a bit. So at least I know how to kind of fix it, but... Hello, Max Collin. Thank you for the 200 bits. I am working on a bunch of Fortified Flora, I've been calling them. So they're all flowers that are contained within fortifications, aka buildings. Typically they're all medieval structures. Like, see, this one's really pushed in. Like, it's pretty far in there. Also, I put this on Instagram without finalizing it, apparently. Oops. Anyway, there's that one. So that's cotton. This is lilacs. This is dandelions, which still, this one's my favorite. I still really like this one. And peonies. Because people seem to like peonies, and they were kind of a challenge to draw, so I thought, why not? I'm going to have to do a bunch of flowers I've never drawn before. So like the thistles, I haven't drawn those before, so I'm drawing those now. Thank you. Yeah, you can find them all on my Instagram too. For anyone who's new here, this is my social junk. So, are you going to do a Venus flytrap or an underwater culper or something? I might do the flytrap, but that depends, because I kind of wanted to say, I don't know, I don't want to say flowery, but, you know, more along the lines of pretty things. The flytraps are a little bit, I don't think they're flowers. Are they flowers? Or are they just a plant? I don't know, I started off with a tree. I know that's not flowers, but, and then I went cattails. I know those aren't flowers. But for the most part, I did want to start sticking with flowers, because I've honestly never drawn flowers. So I was like, well, maybe now's the time to try flowers. But, I hate to tell you this, Max, but we've already been streaming 2.5 hours, so I'm probably going to get going. Heather's here too. Dang it, right when I'm leaving. Usually on Thursdays I stream for 2 to 3 hours, but I've got a lot to do today, so I kind of have to duck out early. But, yeah, and we're going to be at Gen Con, not next week, but the week after. Next week is our Journey June, like, class, so if anybody's into that. But, yeah, Heather, I'm sorry. I want to keep working on this, but I have to go back to doing my commissions of this dog and its hedgehog holding a basket of oranges, right? Anyway, let's see. So we'll be back Monday on Gabe's stream, and Gabe streams Mondays and Wednesdays. Tuesday and Thursday are my days, so come back here on Tuesdays at 9 p.m. Central and Thursdays at 4 p.m. Central. Heather, thank you so much for showing up. Are you going to be streaming today? Are you streaming now? Can I push people to you? Or are you not going? You not on? Is anybody on? Can I read anyone?
Hapkins is on?
Hapkins is on?
I think so. She's got one person.
Oh, she does?
I don't know if she's actually on.
Can you check? Oh, Cassie Draws is on there.
No, she's not.
Aw, Heather, you're so sweet. I miss you. I hope your streams have been good lately. Like, hope they've been non-drama filled and super positive. But, oh, Cassie's going for partner. Let's see. We could probably push. Oh, she's drawing, she's painting a tiger. Oh, that's cool. That looks really nice. We can go raid Cassie. She's nice. I like her. A baobab tree. Oh, yeah. What the hell was his name? Josh? Was it Josh or Titus that told me about the baobab?
No,
I think it was Titus. I think it was during a thing. You're welcome, Serenity. Oh, good, Heather. Those are the best kinds. I love it. Okay, so we're gonna raid Cassie. She's drawing a very nice painting a nice tiger. So we'll raid her. You guys can stick around or go, do whatever you want. If you like her, support her. If anybody here is new and you like what I've been doing, give me a follow. Otherwise, yeah, I'll see you guys on Tuesday for my stream. And if you're at Gabe's, watching all the robots and the watercolor and stuff, follow him under his name that's on his face. And we'll see you later. And remind yourself, I guess, to go on my Instagram too. That's usually where I'm most active, you know. And I've got this going so you can see more of these. So anyway, guys, I'm gonna start the raid. Let's go.
Ooh.
Let's go. It's good to see you guys. We'll see you later, okay? Bye.
Goodbye.